Have you ever wondered what exactly happened to your favorite character, Jackie, while she was in Fiji?
Wait, there's an update on that?
There is.
The obvious answer is yes. I just can't stop thinking about my favorite character, Jackie. All I think about when it's MK, Rain, Smoke, Serena, it's all about Jackie.
Yeah, everybody loves Jackie, especially Yani. That's what I always say. That's my motto in life.
Character in MK.
All right, so recently, Dominic, I'm going to butcher his name, Cianciolo, went on to ARS Technica and did a Mortal Kombat question and answer segment. Yeah, so it wasn't very long, and they had a bunch of fans submit some questions, and they kind of filtered through and pulled out the ones that they wanted to answer. And a Mark TDW asked him, he said, I need to ask the single most important, hotly debated, unanswered question in the history of the series. What the hell happened in Fiji? So now we have a little bit more information. if anybody wanted to know this.
For those who don't know, this whole thing about Fiji is basically, it's in one of the intro dialogues, the pre-fight interactions, and it keeps coming up.
Yeah, there's actually like 3 different interactions where she drops Fiji, and I think it's kind of a play on in the Avengers when Black Widow and Hawkeye are always talking about what happened in Budapest. I think it's
comparing Jackie to Widow. Don't do that.
No, I think that's what the writer's intent was for.
I'm blaming that on you.
So now we got a little bit more information. We knew that there was some bad intel. There was a lot of bystanders, and there was as Dominique likes to call it, a particularly irate iguana. And because of all this, the whole mission went sideways. So
a particularly irate iguana, is that a joke about a reptile? Is that
no? I don't think this is
a chameleon in the intro dialogue for reptile.
Hashtag reptile confirmed. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it is. Come to think of it, like, because
I'm pretty sure that's a chameleon. But
so yeah, there's a little bit more information for you on what happened in Fiji. A couple of other questions I thought that were interesting from this whole little interview that he answered. Some people asked, were Shinnok and Centrum complete? Were they actually
Centrum?
Were they the only offspring to the Titans, or were there more? And they were basically asking if any of the other elder gods or gods were offsprings of the Titans. And he said that Kronika's whole mission in life was that she wanted to balance the light and the dark, and that's why she stepped in when she did, because after the events of Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X, things were leaning too much on the side of the light because Raiden had came in and killed Shinnok, and that had kind of disrupted everything. So because of all this, she stepped in, but she has also birthed Centurion and Shinnok in order to monitor what is happening within the realms and what's happening with the gods.
I see so many inconsistencies in everything that was just said. Like, honestly.
Keep in mind, this is me paraphrasing, and I am not the best with lore, but I think I did a pretty good job paraphrasing just now what he said.
I think you paraphrased it perfectly because it sounds like some of the stuff they would say.
All right, Yani, let's hear. What are your issues with this one?
So if we're gonna say that Kronika saw that all of this was happening, and that's why she created Shinnok and Cetrion, or Centrum, or Centrion as you like to call her, then that would mean that time has passed exactly as it has to that exact moment in time, right? So how would things have gotten that far if Shinnok didn't invade either time? See the big issue here? So if she created Shinnok and Cetrion to balance the forces of dark and light, which also makes no sense, and I'll get to that in a second. But
no, she didn't make them. The purpose of them being created wasn't to balance it, but her stepping in was because things have gotten out of balance. Mm-hmm. The reason she put them into place was because she basically wanted like an inside man to keep tabs of what's happening with the gods.
She's a titan, the titan of time. Why does she need somebody to be on Earth or the Nether Realm or wherever to keep an eye on things. She can literally see that all herself. Again, inconsistent. It makes no sense. I mean, and even then, to maintain the forces of light and dark, we can see in Mortal Kombat 11's actual story mode that she was actually pushing things towards the dark. She was trying for Shao Kahn to win. That is just pure darkness. That means that Earthrealm is completely taken over and Shao Kahn continues to conquer all the realms as he always has done. The world is full of more dark than light at this point in time. It makes no sense.
I don't have the answers. I think that's something we'll have to bring Dominic on one episode in.
I'd love to have a chat with him because, I mean, obviously I have a lot of problems with this, but it's always nice to be able to discuss things and see how, say, he would react to calling out those inconsistencies, because there could be a lot that we're calling out that he's actually thought through and that we might be missing. But as far as I can see, this there are too many questions being created by him answering questions.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been the issue. I mean, the reboot Mortal Kombat, the lore has kind of ventured off from the original lore, and I think that's something, we've kind of addressed quite a few times, is that so much of this compared to what we used to have doesn't line up anymore.
It doesn't even line up with what they've created now. Like, forget lining up with the past Mortal Kombats. A lot of what they say is inconsistent with what they've created in the same generation.
Yeah.
And that, I can understand if it's inconsistent with the past stuff. I don't agree with it. I can understand it because there is a lot. Like, I'm not gonna. I was gonna say I'm not gonna expect, but I do expect that they actually play through their own games, say Deception, and try to stay consistent. But they're not doing that. But what I do at least expect is that they remain inconsistent with their own creations in, say, Mortal Kombat 11. There's so much in MK11 which doesn't line up in MK11.
He was also asked, where does Chaosrealm come from?
Oh.
And in this case, he went through and basically goes through and he tells a story about the One Being and the Elder Gods. The One Being was feeding off the Elder Gods, and they would have all been consumed, but they band together and they defeated the One Being, and they split them up into different pieces, and those pieces became the different realms, including Chaosrealm.
Yes, that is pretty much what happened, but does he go into any further detail?
No, he just kind of restates previous lore on that one.
Because he's missing out a lot.
Like what?
Yes, that is true. All the realms were created, or at least the major realms. I'm not sure if that's 100% confirmed, but the major realms were created from the sort of fragmentation of the One Being. But Chaosrealm was not always the Chaos. I think it was in Deception that basically it was a normal world, and then there was an event where basically the god of chaos sort of, I don't know, went crazy, unleashed something on the actual realm itself, which caused the realm to transform. And that's why the Chaosrealm is sort of like defying all known laws, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point. But yeah, he didn't go into that at all. He just basically gave the definition of the realms and where they came from. Besides that, I guess one of the other interesting questions I thought was he answered what had happened to Frost's parents, or Frost, because Frost has a few intros, doesn't she, where she...
Does she kill them?
Yeah. And so he did verify that she did kill them.
He did indeed kill her parents.
Yeah.
Okay. And was this, I mean, does he go into detail about saying when it happened? Was it before Sub-Zero took her in? Was it after?
No, there's no timeline there. He basically says she had a bad childhood and at some point killed her parents. And so that's what some of those intros come from.
I mean, in the 3D era, Sub-Zero's choice of taking in Frost made a lot of sense. Even if she did turn evil, it was sort of like you could see that it was just a student becoming dark over time.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the reboot, it's just like Frost has always been this pissy little bitch, Honestly, like, if you see her, I love Frost. I'm so happy she's back. I was playing her a huge amount in MK11, right? And but you can't really ignore the fact that she's like a little brat, and that you can only laugh at Sub-Zero for taking her in the reboot era in comparison to the 3D era. You know what I mean? Like, all the signs are right there.
When she first appeared in Mortal Kombat X, I thought that same thing. I was like, well, she's a bit more of a brat than she was before, more than like a student that's kind of gone dark. But then, I mean, you got lots of stories with students going dark and they turn into brats, like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, see, that's how I would compare the 3D era Frost rather than the reboot era Frost, where she's just straight up this brat from the start. Now, speaking of MKX, you remember why she was a brat? What was it?
Because
How I do?
I don't remember.
It was basically that Sub-Zero and Scorpion were meeting, and she was angry at the fact that the Lin Kuei and the Shiryu were meeting and not, fighting, right?
Yeah, that's right.
However, that itself was one of the inconsistencies of MKX, because why does Frost care? She just joined the Lin Kuei, you know?
For the honor of the Lin Kuei.
Is that everything that he answered that was interesting?
Yeah, I mean, he did a few different questions here and there. Those were the ones I found interesting. We'll leave a link in the description if any of our fans want to check it out and watch the whole interview. It's only about 12 minutes.
I can't believe I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, I'll send you a link too.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this Tarkatan Bitesize episode. It's nice when we get to hear something from the writers of MK. Let us know what you think of, Dominic's answers. Or do you have as many issues with it as I do? or are you happy with how he's answered things? We'll be bringing you another episode of the Rumcast soon. Please like, follow, subscribe to stay up to date, and thank you very much.